Hello everyone, welcome back. Yesterday I took a little bit of a break, but I am back. I'm back and I've decided for the next few days I'm going to focus on crafts because I really need to get my weight back down. And so we're going to skip the food for a few days and really focus on some crafts. And so today I'm hoping this is going to turn out to be a really cute like bumblebee craft. So I picked up one of these jars from the Dollar Tree. I probably had this one a while, so I don't know if they still have this exact one, but you can pretty much use any jar. You could use a mason jar if you have that on hand. You can use an old pickle jar. Just whatever you have. We're going to keep this on the cheap. So I'm also going to take this. There's like a piece of, what you call this? It's to keep it sealed, but I don't think I'm going to use the lid, so I don't think I need this. If I can get it off of here. Let's see if we can cut it. A pair of scissors. There we go. All right, so from here, I'm just going to paint my jar, and I have got some home decor chalk paint here. And if you've never used chalk paint, it is the paint to use because, as you can see, it will cover just about any surface. I used to watch like craft videos and not know why everybody was using chalk paint until I started using it, and then I realized not only does it cover just about any kind of surface, it covers really well. So if you're trying to cover up like wording or something, a lot of times I'll buy, signs at the Dollar Tree and I want to cover up what it says and turn it into something else. This paint is great for that. It also dries really quick and it has a beautiful matte finish. So I'm just going to go cover this whole jar, and I've just got a piece of scrap paper here to lay this on while it dries. Make sure I get the top and the bottom. Bottom's probably going to stick now. But anyway, I'm going to do about 3 coats to make sure this is really nice and coated and that you can't see through any of it. Okay, now that my jar is nice and dry, I decided to use a couple of these little teeny tiny bee stencils. So these are the screen stencils. You can use any kind of stencil. You can even hand paint, some little bees on here if you like. And I couldn't decide if I was going to use the yellow or if I was going to use a brown. Ultimately, I decided to go with the brown because I think it'll pop a little bit better. And when we used, these are glue sticks I bought that are hopefully going to be kind of like the color of honey. I didn't really want them to match. I wanted the bees to kind of stick out. And so I'm just going to put our stencils on here, just kind of here and there. And then I'm also going to use a little bit of brown. Is this brown? Yes. Make sure I didn't have the black because they look so similar. And just teeny tiny bit of paint that I'm just going to tap onto my stencil here. And then I'm going to do the same on this one. Oh, isn't that cute? And I'm going to re-stick it maybe right here. Do another little bee. Just real carefully. And I think I'm going to set this here for a second before I get a chance to wash it off. That doesn't really look like a bee, but that's okay. I can always cover that spot up with, I got too much paint on there, I think. I can always cover that spot up with, try this again, with a little bit of flowers later. There, that looks better. There, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put my paint up, wash my stencils, give that a second to dry, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so my bees are still just a little bit wet, so I'm going to set them aside for a second, and I think what I would really like to do is make a cute little bee made from beads. And I have some here that I tore apart, so this just came from some old jewelry, and these don't necessarily have a hole in them. There was a silver piece that 3 of these were attached to, and I broke it apart, but I left the silver piece on the bottom of one because I do need a hole just for one because I'm going to put this on a wire and I want it to kind of stick up out of there. So hopefully my idea here will work. And then I grabbed 2 little like bead-like little charms, I guess you would call them, little dangly things that are leaves, but I think they will make really cute wings for our bee. So this is going to be the bottom. So I'm going to put a drop of glue here, and then I'm just going to alternate beads. So it kind of looks like a bumblebee. So we're going to go black, yellow, black, yellow, black. All right, then once I've got my bee together, I'm going to go ahead and glue his little wings down to the back. Oops, wrong side. And I'm just going to hold that in place till it's dry, and then we'll add the other wing. All right, so then we're just going to set him aside. And I have got one of these styrofoam. This is actually called a mug plug. I don't remember where I got this. I think it was the Dollar General. And I haven't been able to find them since. But I love it because you can just squish it right down in there. Now, I will need to trim this just a bit. So let's get a knife. I was going to say scissors, but we need a knife. I'm going to cut this. And we're going to push it back down in there again. So that should be just about right. Yeah, these are great because you can put them in a coffee cup. Luckily, it just fits that perfect. And then I'm going to add a little bit of floral pieces. So a little bit of flowers. I hadn't quite decided what colors I wanted to go with, but I really like the purple and the yellow. So I'm going to trim off a bit of this. Maybe another one here. This one looks like it's missing a flower. Maybe it's this one. I'll put it back on here. There we go. So I'm just going to push this down in here and start adding some flowers. Let's see. I'm thinking it needs something kind of sprouting out of it. Let's see if we can trim some of this. Maybe right here. Yeah, just kind of fill in with this. And I think I might even use a little bit of this like mossy stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I got this from. As I told you guys, I don't throw anything away. I keep everything. Doesn't matter what it came off of. Because I might be able to use it for something else. I think the smarter thing to do, I might be able to just grab my scissors here and cut this. Yeah, that's the smarter idea. So I think I'm going to tuck a little bit of this in here. So we'll put some hot glue down in here. Yeah, maybe we'll do some around back here. So we'll cut a little bit more off of there. I don't even know what you call this stuff. I'm going to call it filler, because that's what we're using it for, to fill in. Put a little glue underneath there. So basically I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of volume, I guess. But I'm also covering up the styrofoam piece that's in there. Push this out of the way. Okay, so I've got a little bit of craft cord here. And I'm just going to open this up and cut off a small piece of this. That I'm going to wrap around here, I think. So I kind of want it to be long enough that goes around, but I also want it to be like a double thickness, maybe even triple. So I'm going to double it up and cut it on the ends. And I'm going to tie this around. And then just give it a little bit of a knot. Okay. I'm going to bring it around this way just a little bit. And I've got one of these. I don't know what this is called. A honey stick? I'm not sure. But it came off a little honey pot that I had, and I didn't really enjoy using the honey pot because I was getting honey everywhere. Like, I don't know how you keep it from dripping everywhere. So I'm going to tuck it right there. But I do know you can find these, maybe not with the bumblebee, but you can find these like in the craft stores and stuff like that. So I'm going to push that to the side just a little bit. We can see our bee. There we go. And the next thing I'm going to add is some stickers. So these are just little letter stickers. You can pick these up at any craft store. And I went ahead and pulled off the ones that I needed because I wanted to make sure that they were going to fit in that area. So I pulled off all the ones I needed, put them on a little piece of paper that I knew it would stick to, and just to measure that it was going to fit in this little spot here. So now we'll just go ahead and add those. And instead of just saying be kind, we spelled it B-E-E. Be kind. I'm sure you get it. There we go. I think that looks super cute. All right, so from here, maybe we can take our wire now. So I want it to be long enough that our bee kind of sticks up out of there, and long enough that it goes pretty far down into the little pot here. So I'm going to clip it right here. And then I'm going to put it in the bottom of my bumblebee's butt. I think what I should do, actually, I think that'll hold it pretty well. All right, so I'm just going to take the end piece and tuck it down right through the center there. And then kind of place him where he's kind of flying up out of the top there. Anyway, you can play around with him until you're happy the way he is. All right, I think I'm going to stop messing around with him. I think he's good enough. So the next thing I want to do, or the finishing touch I should say, is I want to add what looks like, or what I hope is going to look like, a little bit of honey. So I am just putting some hot glue here across the top, and I'm just adding enough that it should drip down on its own. All right, so I think that looks pretty good as far as looking like there's some honey dripping down. But I also want to make sure this little, is this a honey stir? Somebody tell me what this thing is. I want to make sure it looks like it's dripping honey as well. And I didn't want to take a chance on it sticking to my countertop, even though I'm going to be getting hopefully new countertop soon. I'm going to use a Pampered Chef cutting mat, and I'm going to spray a little bit of cooking spray on here. I don't know, this is just some, I'm going to see if this works. And if for some reason it gets the bottom dirty, which I know it will, I can wipe this up. I just really wanted to keep it from sticking to my counter, so I'm going to drip some on there, and then I'm going to grab another one of these, and I will put a link to these in the description below. I think it's called Dent Repair, and it's used for repairing cars somehow. That's what these glue sticks are for. And then once I've got a pretty big puddle here, I'm going to go ahead and move this over. I'm going to drip some right down the side of this, and then I'm going to set this down where that little honey stirrer winds up right in the base of it. And I'm going to try not to get too many little strings, but it does seem to be working as far as keeping it from sticking. So, all right, so we're just going to let that dry and cool off, and then hopefully it should look good. Hopefully we should be finished. Okay, so I just put it in the fridge for a few seconds so it would finish cooling off, but it did a great job, and it came right off of this mat really, really easy. So you don't necessarily need a mat. You can put down a piece of parchment paper, but I would definitely spray it with a little bit of cooking spray. And the only thing, I have a little teeny tiny pieces of, not glue strings, but a little bit of extra glue here. You could probably leave it there if you wanted, because, I mean, honey does do that when it drips, but I think I'm going to go ahead and trim it off. Just kind of finish it off there, and there you have it. Isn't that cute? I just love the way these glue sticks look like honey. So I will definitely put a link to these in the description below, and I hope they inspire you to make something of your own that's equally as cute. And I thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.